We know we're about a lap away from the restart.
Yeah, the lights are out, so it'll be one more lap. And the race will be underway once more. Second time we've had the pace car out here.
There we go. Now that, I believe, well, just incredible. I thought they were supposed to spend a lap behind the pace car. At the moment, the pace car's placed 15th in the race.
Wasn't Cicotto penalised 3 minutes for doing this the last time out?
I'd say so.
Yep. What they are supposed to do is to follow the pace car around, because his lights being out are a signal to the marshals to withdraw their yellow flags.
There's no way, though, that the Sierra or the BMW, they're both very experienced. There's no way they'd have passed him, I would think, anyway, unless he'd waved them past.
Well, he moved down to the right-hand side of the road, and they would assume that, OK, come by me now.
The yellow flags are still out.
Yeah. That's the idea of that final lap without the lights out, but that's the signal to the marshals to withdraw the yellow flags.
Well, I thought that we explained it to our viewers earlier this morning, and Richard explained on a number of occasions. We went to the trouble of being briefed by the stewards, I guess 3 to 4 times yesterday, and asked all these questions. And we
there's the green at long last.
Well, Gricey mentioned there were 2 interpretations of the pace car situation. I guess that's a third.
Yeah.
Must be the only race where you pass the pace car before it pulls into the pits. However,
well, the more usual course of events is that he'd wave past all the cars up to the leading car. But seeing as how the leading car was at the front of the field, that doesn't quite follow.
Well, the only certainty about the race at the moment is that Steve Soper continues to lead it in car 6, the Eggenberger Texaco Sierra, heading down Conrod Straight now under the GIO bridge.
Soper is something of a wet weather master. His first ever European touring car race that he won back in 1983 was the Tourist Trophy, and that was in pouring rain in a Rover, and he embarrassed an awful lot of people. He was running for Tom Walkinshaw's team, who were also in the Jaguars at the time, and he left them standing and went off into the distance. I think the people could have been, there were people in the team that could have been more pleased.
Well, Soper has a lap plus on his nearest competitors at the moment, and his nearest competitor is teammate Klaus Ludwig in the number 7 Texaco car. Then Johnny Cicotto, Peter Brock, John Bauer, Terry Shield in the second Nissan car. Jim Richards wouldn't be in that position any longer. So it's a little confused here at Mount Panorama. Even the drivers can't figure out what to do with the pace car. We'll try and sort it out when we return. Steve Soper, race leader on screen after 139 laps out of 161 for the James Hardy 1000. The drama-filled race here today, and all the dramas aren't on the track, Neil Compton.
Certainly not, Gary. In fact, there's going to be one very big drama at the end of this race. I just chanced on a story a moment ago about possible illegal fuel in both the Texaco Sierras. Now, I've spoken with a Confederation of Australian Motorsport official, who has taken a sample of the fuel from the vent bottle and also a sample of fuel from their overhead 120-litre refill compartment. The fuel that came out of the vent bottle blew the hydrometer off the clock. I'll let you read your own rules into that. And the fuel that was taken out of the overhead refill container, he said, quote, was almost right. So, work it out yourself. At the moment, the lap board says 139 laps. Cars 6 and 7 lead the race. And Peter Brock is in 3rd position in car number 10. But at the end of this racing afternoon, there's going to be a lot of discussion about those 2 lead cars.
That's Neil Compton. Wow. So the race may not be over when the flag falls.
It would certainly look that way. It's something that the turbocharged cars have been found guilty of before. I won't name names, but people have been found guilty of putting what they call loopy juice in the petrol tank. And there's all sorts of strange ways that teams work things. There were stories of the cars have 2 pumps. They have an electrical pump and a mechanical fuel pump. And there were stories that there was a tank within a tank on some cars, and one was pumping ordinary fuel and one was pumping something else, an additive, should we say. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's the case, but it's not unheard of for turbocharged cars to play around with the fuel. And, of course, Dick Johnston got penalised in Hardy's Heroes for doing exactly that. They found that the fuel was not as supplied to the teams. It's all supplied from one source. All the teams have to run with the same fuel. And they found, the officials found, that the fuel was not as supplied that Johnson ran, and therefore his times in Hardy's Heroes were disallowed, and that of his teammate, and that's why the two cars started from 9th and 10th on the grid.
There are 21 laps remaining in this race. Steve Soper leads in car number 6. The Eggenberger Texaco car from teammate Klaus Ludwig, although Soper is at least a lap up on him. Peter Brock is in 3rd place, Glenn Seaton 4th, George Fury is in 5th, Jim Richards 6th, Johnny Cicotto 7th, and Robbie Francevic in 8th place at the present time. That's as best as we can calculate at the moment after all the wet weather dramas and the pace car dramas that we've had.
With all the talk on fuel, it could well be a case of who put the sauce on the Eggenberger.
I should guess the only man down there with a smile on his face, if he can hear what's going on, has got to be Brocky, though.
Well, a fellow who probably hasn't got a smile on his face, but then again he probably has, is our intrepid pit reporter, Neil Crompton. And we'll deal with that just a little later as the Texaco Sierra goes through, and down in the pits, Mike Quinn waits for us.
Yes, Peter McKay here, Mike. Thanks very much. A few laps ago, everything was going swimmingly for the guys at Team Toyota Australia, and all of a sudden the rain came down, and Mike Quinn, driving the number 91 car, had a big drama at the newly named West End Bend. Mike, what exactly happened?
Well, Peter, unfortunately, I just happened to be the first one there, I think, when the oil was down in the water, and the car just aquaplaned into the fence, and I looked around and I saw my teammate, unfortunately, do exactly the same. We had already radioed in that we were coming in for wets, and I just feel terribly sorry for the guys in the Toyota team. But our cars are pretty stiffly sprung, and once it hit the water and the oil, that was the end of it, unfortunately.
There was oil on the track.
I think so, by the way, because the car was handling quite well up until then, and